Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Tim Brown. I am here just excited to chat with you this morning about what's new in marketing and what's the biggest thing that was new in marketing past year, or this past week, excuse me, was Gillette's commercial. So Gillette had this ad where they talked about what it means to be a man, and they were intending to have a very inspirational message, and some people found it inspirational. Some people found it to be, derisive or negative towards men. I follow a lot of different people, liberal, conservative, etc. So I thought it would be interesting to chat about this morning. And I'm going to start with some questions about this ad. I think it was a very interesting one. Definitely got the people talking. If I'm going to be consistent, I said the Kaepernick ad was very successful for them since it got the people talking. I think it got people talking. So if that's what Gillette wanted to do, they definitely did it. My question for you this morning about Gillette's ad is, number one, who was the audience for the ad? I would definitely love if people chime in. So if anyone has any thoughts on this on either Instagram Live or Facebook Live, who do you think the audience for the ad was? So the knee-jerk reaction was it was for men. So men use this product to shave their faces. The second answer that's a little more subtle, but maybe perhaps women or spouses or girlfriends are buying razors for their husbands. So maybe that's the secondary audience. Maybe that's the primary audience. So my question for you is, whether you believe it's the male or the female, and however you believe on that one, did the ad have the intended effect? And I think it is yet to be seen over the next couple months how that affects Gillette's sales. But did the commercial spur conversation? Because I think that that's really what the intended effect was, that it spurred conversation. Gillette has a giant share of the market, but there are challengers like Dollar Shave Club and other people like that that are, competing. So perhaps they really wanted this conversation to be centered around them. So the people, there was people that responded negatively to this ad, and my wife had said that she didn't see any of these people. So there were some people, have a very conservative family, have a conservative network through those people, and various people. So those negative reactions may have landed a little bit more on the conservative side. Was the reaction negative enough from some of those men to stop them from using Gillette? That's I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think that was negative enough for them to be to care enough about not using a razor. But my possible caveat to all this is just that I don't necessarily think it's the place of brands to take these stances. And the reason why I think it might not be good for their marketing is insincere. So rather than disagreeing with the message, frankly, I got chills while watching this commercial, especially in the end. I felt like it was a positive message. It was a positive thing to say, men can act better. I thought that was a very positive message. But I felt like overall, knowing what I do about marketing, and maybe I just know a little too much, maybe I think about this stuff too often, it came off as insincere a bit from a brand. So that's one of those things. But it's partly just because there's this much conversation about it, and some people are negative, some people are positive. I think that the people that got really offended by it are obviously, or not obviously, but excuse me, I felt like that was a little bit misplaced. I think overall the ad was trying to be positive. If you're just joining me, it's a commercial. They had an ad on this past week. The ad went through, it started with what appeared to be kind of these negative stereotypes of men behaving badly, and then it transitioned, and there was a bunch of people kind of standing up to negative masculine stereotypes and negative things that men sometimes do. So what my wife explained to me about the beginning of this video, where it was a bunch of men behaving badly, and was partly based on the way that men are characterized in commercials. So there's a bunch of men standing at grills looking gray and stone-faced. She explained to me that that was supposed to be commercials and commercial stereotypes of men, and that this commercial was aiming to kind of elevate the conversation and to try to step out of these stereotypes and into a more caring idea about what men can be. So once I heard that, I said, oh, that makes more sense. Because when I first watched it, I thought it was supposed to be like, this is what most men are like, which seemed weird to me and seemed kind of negative. But if it's understanding that this was showing what a lot of commercials characterize men to be, that's more interesting to me. So if anything, Gillette obviously has millions and millions of dollars to spend on ads, millions and millions of dollars to spend on ideation for those ads, and this got through the system. So they knew that they made a bet on this, that it would get the conversation going enough, and that the audience for the ad would respond well enough that they pulled the trigger on this, that green lighted it. So to me, that's interesting. I'm very curious as to how it goes. I always, I generally err on the side of learning from these brands that pull these, maybe it will be mildly controversial things. And I think that I think I learned a little bit on this process. There's still the Pepsi, think about the things that have gone wrong in this way, the wokeness, like, was it Kylie Jenner or somebody in a Pepsi commercial recently where she was supposed to be attending a protest and it came off extremely insincere. That one belly flopped. So obviously not all big companies that greenlight these ideas are, necessarily right. That Kylie or Kenner, I don't know which one it was, but one of the Jenners that was at a protest that came off insincere and was, I think, a negative brand perception for Pepsi. So it can come off negative. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Comment below, share what you feel. Want to keep it generally positive, but how can we inspire people more in our ads? I think, to me, if I was to add my suggestion would be, of course, they're not asking for my suggestion, but it would be to focus on the good that currently exists, and not just what you want to change, but hey, this is one of those persuasive techniques of saying, look at all this, look what positive is happening. Wouldn't it be awesome if there was more of it? And if you focus on the good that currently exists, not just on what you want to change or what's negative, then a lot of times it actually increases the amount of good that exists. So I loved, for instance, the one where the part of the commercial where a gentleman stops his friend from catcalling a woman. And I think that process of that focus on a positive thing that does exist, there are men doing that, that was a positive thing. And I think that there could be more of that in commercials, a bigger focus on awesome, inspiring things that are going on in the world. I follow a Instagram account called Tank's Good News, and it's this media is focused on all the good news that is in the world and how there's a lot of it that we don't always see because it gets people's blood going when they see negative things, and they want to at least, fear is a strong driver. So, sometimes you have to counteract that, because if you're sitting there, I think, consuming television, constantly consuming news product, that there's a lot of negativity. And there's also, at the same time, I'm not discounting that there is negative stuff, but also at the same time there are a lot of positive things happening. It's just not as great to keep constant attention, and that fear is a bigger driver. So understanding that and kind of counteracting that by focusing on some good things that are going on as well, sharing those good things, and anyways, I hope that this is an interesting conversation for people, and in advertising this past week, so I wanted to talk about it. And I hope that you guys have an amazing week. And thanks for joining. Thanks for commenting, Melanie. And join me next week for Monday Morning Marketing and Coffee. Do a little bit more of what you love this week. All right, bye guys.